I can remember back when my confidence, my body insecurity, and how I felt about myself was at its absolute worst, and I would do my best to dream about the body I wanted. I would try and journal on the life I wanted, the kind of partner I wanted, how I wanted to feel. And this was all great, and I felt great in the moment. But when I stopped that and went back to my normal life, there was one thing missing, and it was this level of self-belief and hope that I could even achieve that. See, I was in this place where it was all well and good to write it down. It was all well and good to speak about it, but that little voice in my head would just tell me I wasn't going to be able to do it. And I felt hopeless, right? I lacked this belief. I lacked this confidence in myself to actually make this happen because I'd spent years trying to make it happen and nothing would. So sometimes we actually need to go away from not go away from the dreaming, but take a step back and realize what is the first piece of this puzzle in order for us to actually create everything we want. Guys, welcome back to a brand new YouTube video and a new episode of Beyond Limitations. We're doing the simulcast here, so we've got the video set up here for YouTube to record this episode, and we've got the podcast recording on the computer, and this is something I want to start doing more of. I want to be, uploading these podcast episodes and uploading the YouTube, but often I've got great topics that would do good in video and would do good in audio, so we're going to combine them together. So yeah, whether you're listening on Spotify or you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate you guys tuning in. And yeah, this episode we're just going to be stripping things right back, I guess, and talking a little bit about creating a level of hope and self-belief to actually get you guys moving forward, making progress, and feeling like these dreams and desires you have are actually achievable, right? I work with a lot of people on creating these dreams and actually understanding these desires and no longer suppressing them, so we have a clear idea of where we're going. Because at the end of the day, if we're in this place we don't like, so we're in a body we don't like, we're lacking confidence, we're lacking self-esteem, we feel like we can't attract the right relationship, and we just feel powerless to build the kind of life that we want, it can be all well and good to dream, but when push comes to shove, if we don't have this self-belief or believe that we're actually capable of making this happen, then it can feel bad, and it can actually make things worse. And I know that's something that I definitely struggled with. Was, as I just mentioned in the open, I would have times where I would dream and allow myself to think about what I wanted, but I was like, I almost felt like an imposter writing them, because I was like, I can't make this happen. And it made them feel even more impossible, which made me feel even worse about myself, which created more doubt, which continued this cycle that I'm in, right? So in today's episode, I want to sort of talk about how we can overcome that and how we can sort of strip things back in order to actually start making progress, right? So this isn't me telling you not to dream and not to explore these desires, because these are still at the forefront of what I've done, what I help my clients to do, and what you need to do, right? You need to have that North Star of actually what you're wanting to achieve and work towards, and why this body means so much, and why you need to become the confident person and make all these changes that you want to make, right? But we need to have those and then sort of park those for a minute, right? And we need to come back to actually creating a bit of momentum initially. And there are sort of three things I think that are really important in, I guess, the three core ingredients in order to actually create this progress, right? So we have hope, right? We have our thoughts and our feelings, and then we have our actions, right? And hope is the one that is so important to get you actually off the ground. So like I said, if we can be too focused and over focused on where we're going, and we don't have that self-belief to think we can actually get there, it can be really overwhelming. We can overthink, it'll feel impossible, and then we can just feel helpless. And there is nothing worse than being in this state, being in this body, in this version of you where you're already not feeling great, to then feel helpless and powerless to change it. That can be really debilitating, and a lot of people never recover from that, and that's the way they live their lives, right? And the way I see these things is that hope comes from faith, right? Our belief comes from our thoughts and our feelings, and then the evidence we want to actually prove to ourselves that we're capable comes from the action, right? But where we need to start is that belief, is the hope part, right? And this, to me, and what has worked for me, is strengthening my faith in this. And that's this concept that the universe, God, higher power, whatever you choose to believe, it doesn't really matter, right? It's all very much the same thing. But whatever works best for you, for me, it's God, right? But I'll speak in universe here because I know that's probably more generally accepted by a lot of you guys watching. But insert whatever higher power you want, right? But we first need to actually understand that the universe is always conspiring for us. Right? The universe is set up in a way to help us get to where we want, to get to the body, to attract a relationship, to become the best version of ourselves, right? I mean, think of it this way. Everything you're currently watching this on or listening this on was created from somewhere, right? Someone made the computer, someone made the camera, the microphone, someone invented Spotify, invented YouTube, right? The phone that you're watching this on in your hand, right? This was all created somewhere. This was all an idea somewhere that had to begin somewhere. So the way I look at this is everything around us has been made and created to make our lives better, to make our growth easier, right? These are the tools in which we learn from and grow from and hear and watch videos like this that might kick us into action, right? This, to me, all had to start from somewhere, right? And if you're like, oh, it was a person that invented this, it's like, yeah, but where did that idea come from? Who planted the seed in their head? And when you start to go down that rabbit hole, you're like, yeah, the universe really is set up to help us and to get us there. And one of the biggest things that I had to do and a level of thinking that I had to change was to stop thinking the world was against me. Because as soon as we start thinking we're not capable, as soon as we start thinking that I'm the victim and everything's out to get me and I'm just not worthy enough to have these things, we're going against the universe. We're going against God. We're going against this universal consciousness that is doing everything it can to push us forward and make us progress. And as soon as we detach ourselves from that and disconnect from that, this is where we encounter things like stress and overwhelm and not feeling worthy and good enough. And I speak about self-worth and self-esteem a lot, being that our foundation of that should come from having connection to some level of spirit and higher power, right? So for me, I don't need anything for me to feel like a worthy human. I know, as I said, I believe in God, and that belief and that spiritual connection for me has me with the belief that I'm worthy no matter what, right? That is a birthright as a human being, right? And this allows me to then tap into that belief and that power that everything is actually set up to work for me. And I just need to get myself in this state of being and in this mindset to start seeking evidence for that to be true. Right, so that is where, and having this faith that everything is going to work out, that I am capable, that I am worthy of this, and that I can do this, is the first step, right? To get that hope, so you can wake up every day and not go about your day feeling like you're the victim and like everything's out to get you, right? And have all these problems arise. It's just this simple little perception shift, because it's amazing what waking up with hope and optimism instead of pessimism will do for you, right? You still might not have the best day, right? But you're going to be living with a different energy, right? You're going to start to reconnect to that universal consciousness, to higher power, to God, that is there and set up to help you. And this is where I want you to start. And it might sound really counterproductive. You're like, no, I need the program. I need this. I need that. I need da, 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 da. But it's like, you'll get that and we can give you that, but we need to actually ignite the spark, right? And this is sort of how I put it. You think of it like a campfire, right? Igniting that spark on the campfire with the flint or the match or lighter, whatever it is, that's hope, right? We need that to actually start our momentum forward. We need hope, we need faith, we need trust in something bigger than us, that it's got our back, right? We can then shift to that next phase, which is starting to create the belief through our thoughts and our feelings to actually start to see this come to fruition, right? And this is like we're now fanning the flame of the fire, right? Now we're starting to think in alignment with where we want to go. We're starting to feel a lot more positive and optimistically about these things, right? We're starting to feel happier. We're starting to feel more confident. We're starting to trust things more. And our general chatter in our head is now totally different to what it used to be, right? If I think back to my body insecurity days, my whole day would be filled with thoughts that everyone was judging me. I couldn't go to the gym without, trying to hide away and just believing that everyone was looking at me. And it would really impact me. It would impact my self-esteem. It would impact my workout. It would impact my mood for the rest of the day. And then when I left the gym and I went to Coles or Woolies to get my food, I would make sure I wasn't in my singlet still. I'd make sure I was covered up, right? I wouldn't want people to see me. And it's just this my thoughts were just so negative and so pessimistic, right? And that was basically dousing that spark. It was dousing that flame, so it never got into that beautiful roaring flame that we wanted it to, right? And that is what starts to change our beliefs, to change the stories in which we are living our life with, is through these thoughts and changing these feelings, right? And the way we get there is first actually having hope and belief that we can make this happen, and then we can start to rewire these things. Right? And then the next phase is then where we start to actually see and accumulate evidence through our action, right? But you think about it, if you're in this position where you're not happy, you're not feeling great, your actions probably aren't aligned with where they need to be in order to get you the result, right? If you're wanting to change your body and become more body confident, you're probably not training like you should. You're probably not eating like you should. You're probably not doing cardio like you should, right? But these are a direct result of the thoughts and feelings you have, which cause you not to do the things. And those thoughts and feelings are a direct result of the hope and general helplessness that you might feel about even attempting to do these things, because you don't believe it's even possible for you, so why would you bother to do it, right? And then when we start to change our actions and start to actually see evidence that, oh, I can feel great, I can feel confident, I can go and talk to that guy or girl, I can have a great session without fearing judgment. Now we're in the evidence accumulating business. Now this flame is big and roaring, and we're actually going to start to make some progress. Right? But maybe for you right now, it's not about it is about the actions, but for you to be able to get to the actions, you need to ignite that spark of hope, right? And yeah, this was what changed for me, because as I said, I spent so long feeling hopeless, feeling helpless, and it's only been in the last year that, because over the last few years I've gone through phases where I felt really good, but then I've gone back to how I used to be, and I couldn't work out why that was. But in the last year, since I've connected to God and I found that and I've started to explore that, my hope and my self-belief that I'm going to make all these things happen is, I don't even think about it anymore, because it is just such a normal and ingrained part of my life, of my mind, and of my reality as a whole. Right? And that has come about through connecting to the universe and something bigger than me, to know that it is working for me at all times, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. If that is working for me at all times, then that's sweet. That's my foundation, right? I can trust in that. I've looked around and I've seen evidence, like I mentioned, the phone, Spotify, the cameras, all these things that have been created for us, right? Now it's just up to me to begin to rewire my thoughts, to rewire my feelings, to rewire my beliefs and the story that I am living by. And the other really great piece of advice I'd have for you is to see your beliefs as a decision that you have made. So if we use the body example, and you have this belief that you're never going to feel confident in your body, or people aren't going to find you attractive, right? That belief is actually a decision you have made about the thing. So you have decided that no one is going to find you attractive. You have decided that you're not going to be able to change your body to become the confident person that you ideally want to. And if you've decided that, then your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are going to reflect that. Because our brain is always looking, and our ego is always looking to prove us correct. So if you have these beliefs, these stories, and you've made these decisions, right, about a certain thing, you're now asking, okay, brain, okay, ego, show me evidence to back up this belief and this decision that I have made, right, to justify that decision. So you will go out and find evidence. You will self-sabotage. You won't be able to be consistent. You will lack motivation, right? You'll find the one person that has something bad to say about you, and you'll say, yep, see, told you I wasn't going to be good enough, or whatever it might be, right? All of this stuff, guys, all this internal work that I do with people, it all leads to the actions that you need to take, right? But the actions themselves, we don't want to just look at the actions themselves. We don't want to just look at the program, the meal plan, and whatever else, unless we have this inner foundation, unless we have that hope, that self-belief, that connection to a greater power, right? And then we have the thoughts and the feelings to then actually propel our actions. All right, so if you take nothing else away from this video other than you are capable, everything around you, if you look hard enough and deep enough, is proof that you are capable. And the mere fact that you can see other people doing the things you want to do, looking the way you want to look, experiencing the life you want to experience, again, is evidence that this is all possible for you. But at the moment, you lack the hope and the belief, right? You lack that spiritual foundation, that connection to something bigger. And your thoughts, your stories, your decisions, your feelings are all just aligned in a way that are producing actions or non-actions that aren't actually getting you the results that you want. right? That is, in a nutshell, what it all comes down to. And this is what I work with people on, right? Because I give them their training program and their nutrition plan, but that stuff is going to be useless unless they're actually capable of executing that, right? And that's where we go and do all this work. And I only need 4 weeks with someone to go through this stuff that I take people through, the content, the processes, the conversations we have, the way I get them to start thinking and showing up, in order to then get them to start taking the actions to make these things so effortless and be filled with self-belief, to be filled with confidence and hope that things are going to change, right? But nothing will change if you continue to sit in this state of helplessness, of not feeling good enough, of being consumed by these thoughts and these feelings, and also being in resistance to change, right? You're trying to control things too much. Quite often, some of the biggest things and the biggest roadblocks we have don't actually need more work. They need to be let go of. They need to be thought less of. They need to be surrendered to this higher power, to God, to the universe, right? That's the lesson. And I've had that lesson with a lot of things, and I needed to stop trying to change it and actually just allow myself to have the peace to let it go and surrender it, because it wasn't mine to hold in the first place, but I was holding onto it for dear life, so it would stay around, right? I was resistant to it changing, and every time it would try to go away, I would grab onto it by rethinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, and I would bring that problem, that challenge, back into my reality, right? I was resisting changing because I was focused on it so damn much. All right, guys, so let me know if this makes sense. If you've got any questions, by all means, drop them down below if you're watching on YouTube, or the best way to do is to probably just message me on Instagram and we can have a conversation about all this, because I know it's a lot, can be a lot to wrap your head around. But yeah, remembering those 3 foundational pillars, right? Doing stuff to create that hope, right? And having the faith to then create the beliefs and the stories through the thoughts and the feelings, and then accumulating evidence through your actions, right? That is what's going to lead to your progress. So don't get overwhelmed with all these big dreams and stuff you have and have them feel impossible. Start from the place of, I just want to believe in myself that I'm capable and worthy of doing this. Once you've got that ticked off, then we can actually look at the strategy to get you there, the program, the meal plan, the dating advice, the starting your own business, whatever it is for you, right? Then we can look at the strategy. But you need to be the kind of person that can execute that strategy for it to happen in the first place. All right, guys, thank you guys for tuning into the pod, for watching on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of other great content on here. And if you are listening on Spotify, on the podcast, again, a lot of great episodes there. Have a listen, and yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.